switches set up, dog.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. If you saw the last one, then you saw the E30's running. It sounds very healthy. I'm extremely satisfied with how it's doing so far. And I've actually been putting around the neighborhood, nothing above 3,000 RPMs, just to try and get a good bass map set up. Now, my buddy Nick, who owns Some Bitch Racing out of Oregon, has been remotely signing into my laptop and doing some tuning to actually set that bass map up for me so it can be nice and safe for when I do go out on the street. So what we're gonna do is slowly drive around, kind of ease into the higher RPMs, making sure AFRs look good. We've thrown a lot of extra fuel into the higher RPM so we know it will be safe. And what we're gonna do is turn on the live analyzer, which is like an auto-tune feature that VEMS offers with their software. We've set the target AFRs at what we want them to be at certain RPMs. So the computer will then pull fuel out of the fuel map to try and achieve that target AFR as we drive around. And if all looks well, maybe we'll get into some boost and see what she can do. So this is the live analyzer. This is where it does the auto tuning and shows you what it would change in order to reach your target AFRs. So we'll turn the live analyzer on, and filter failed. So, oh, it's not up to temperature yet. So it requires the coolant to be at 70 degrees Celsius before it'll even think about tuning. Right now it's at 69. So once it goes up a little bit warmer, then we can start using the auto tune feature, and it will balance out our actual AFRs and what the wideband is trying to create. Now I also have the logging on as well, so when we're done going for our drive, we can pull up the log. We can see if and where there's any spikes in it going lean, so we can adjust the table accordingly. And you can also diagnose any other problems that may show up as well. Everything's looking good on here. I need to get some data in the higher RPM, so we'll go ahead and do a couple smaller pulls and see where we're at. Feature is just going to pull fuel from the table, which is much better than trying to add fuel, and that's what we want. So we're just going to keep doing a couple pulls to collect some more data and try to clean up the table. So I don't know how well you could hear me when I was driving, but we did some polls, collected some data. It was all super rich, which means we're gonna have to take some fuel out of the higher RPM cells, which is perfect. That's what we want. We don't want it to be lean at all because then it gets dangerous. So I'm gonna look at what the computer analyzed, and then I'll look at the log, I'll compare them, and we'll adjust the fueling table accordingly to actually pull some fuel out so we can get it in the target range for those higher RPMs. And just to show you guys, this is the data it collected. Everything in green just shows you that it got a ton of data from those cells. Yellow's not as much, and red was barely any data. So it's hard to get these green. You need to do a lot of polls, and you need to be in that RPM range for a long time, which I just don't have the stretch of road right now, so we're just slowly collecting data. Okay, so what we'll do from here is keep this data it collected up. We'll go into Tools and go to View by Statistics and click Reevaluate. This is going to upload all the data into this chart, and then we can pull up our VE table, which is our fuel table, and have the two side by side, and we'll compare what the computer tried to correct based off what is actually in the ECU, and then we can just blend it all accordingly, and then we know in those higher RPMs or anywhere in the RPM range, we're shooting towards our target AFR. Okay, so we're back in the car. We'll turn on the ECU. It's already saying that there has been some changes. We'll hit OK to burn them into the ECU. And it's done. I always like to go to the table or whatever I adjusted and make sure it's our new settings, which it is. So we'll just go drive again. Now you see this upper right quadrant here is much higher values than the rest. This is all higher RPM stuff where we're super rich. This is where things get dangerous if you don't have enough fuel. So I'm just gonna slowly tweak this as we drive around. I don't wanna do too much too fast because you can lean it out while we're under boost, which is this entire range here. And now we'll just do the same thing as before. We'll turn on the log, and we will also turn on the live analyzer, and we'll go drive around. Other than just tuning stuff, the car's running great, transmission feels good, temperatures are fantastic. If you saw my video where I took the motor apart, you'll see that my water pump was broken. So now that I have a working pump, temps stay at like 160 degrees, which is phenomenal. I actually thought it was broken for a little bit, or thought I had air trapped in the system at first, just because I'm not used to such cool temperatures. Which is what we want. That's what we changed to the table, but there's still some tweaking that needs to happen, so just collecting data and over is the only way to get it right. Just like before, we'll check out the data, we'll see what kind of changes it wants to make, we'll input the ones that we want to change, and then we'll just smooth it all out. Okay, so I just uploaded the new fueling tables that I changed into the ECU. Same thing, just repeat the process until we get it dialed. And also keep in mind, I'm not just doing this and gonna start just beating the shit out of the car all the time. I'm doing this just so I can comfortably and safely drive it around until I can get to a dyno. I need to brake in this clutch before I hit the track anyways, so I'm just using this time to drive the car around, brake in the clutch, and also just, you know, try and perfect it as best I can before I go to a dyno, just to make it as easy as possible. ECU to add a bunch of fuel and take out a bunch of ignition at high RPMs when I'm off throttle. So we should be able to shoot some flames, get some pops and bangs. So we're gonna go and test it out and see what happens. Yeah, it is. Oh, I think it weighs maybe under 2,500 pounds. That's 2,500.
That's what I was just saying. What is that?
It's an E30. It's an older BMW.
Yeah, old BMW.
With,
I like that, bro. I like that.
thank you, appreciate it.
What year?
91.
Still glossing, still glossing.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time I got to drive it since today.
I love how this bitch is set up, dog.
I'm telling you, it's clean, ain't it?
It really is.
I'm telling you.
And that's pretty much how I've just been tuning it when I'm by myself, just doing little stuff. I'm not gonna do anything too drastic until I have someone else get their eyes in it. My buddy Nick has been remotely signing on to my laptop the last couple days as I drive around to help me get to this point. So he's been a huge help. He's dedicated a solid like 2 days to just help me get this thing dialed. So I still plan on taking it to a dyno, but at least this way I can safely drive it around and brake in the clutch. And it kind of gives me some time to just wear the car in before I can get it on the dyno and we can start hitting the track, which is coming very soon. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. You kind of get an idea. And if you have any questions as far as tuning in the VEMS software, feel free to give me a shout. I'll answer all your questions and help you as best I can. All right, see you.